Let me ask you a question. This action plan, in what time frame should that be set up? Is there a window that you say that's the appropriate size, or is that?
Most of the time, you should think about 6 months to a year.
Okay. Okay. And should there be sit downs with your coach in between, or is it kind of left open for 6 months?
It should be followed up by the N+1.
Okay. Now you keep using the word N+1, which stands for what?
The boss, whoever that you, in one stage higher,
okay,
the boss that you are reporting to.
Okay, good. So action plan, 6 to 12 months with reoccurring retrospectives where you sit down and you kind of get feedback. Okay.
There may be also elements that you say, and then if you consolidate the data from a group, you can have it on a team level, a project management team. You can have it on a program manager, so you consolidate all data for the pool program, or you can have it on a portfolio level, so you can integrate all the data and especially the common elements into one. Say, okay, as a group, we see that we are very strong in this or that, and maybe we have a very low score on one of competencies that is in the long term maybe creating a lot of problems.
Okay. How do you deal with the fear that often comes up of being evaluated? Are there certain guidelines and principles that you follow to
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I think confidentiality. And that's again these paradoxes as we talked about. So if you think of these steps: analysis, synthesis, action. The analysis and synthesis, their confidentiality is really extremely important. Also, guaranteed to the person filling out the questionnaire, is consolidated and is not visible, is not traceable. It's more. So I cannot say that person within my team has given me a low score. That's not the aim, because then you're destroying the system.
So you're protecting your source.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you protect the sources and you protect the manager getting back. But, and that's a paradox, the third element, then you put it in the action plan. Then you say, basically, the data are not important for the plan. Yeah, they are important to build it, but not to share it.
I'm the reason that you're getting a little bit of an emotion. I don't know if you've noticed an emotional reaction on
really?
me. Yeah, because there was this brings up a context that I once had. I was recently evaluated by a group of 30 people, and the interaction that I had with them was actually very, very pleasurable, very extensive. And my impression was overall very, very positive. And the feedback was that way as well. But there was a couple outliers, okay, extreme outliers. And I'm where I was like, was this person even in the interaction? Because it complete. Now that's the nature of interactions. Yeah. Not everybody perceives every interaction the same way. But using that as an example, do you have some kind of principle to identify outliers and how valid outliers are? I mean, if you have, for example, if you have a bell curve and you have a black swan over here that's way off the chart, how do you deal with something like that?
In the 360, as we have established it, you can see whether there is a high difference in the score. Let's say if one within the same group of people, one has scored a 1 on a scale and the second person a 4 or a 5. So you can see it. There is this kind of gap. But what we don't want to put in the open is the number of people having given a 1 or a 5. Because that's human nature, I guess, that people, let's say if you have like in the 360 systems, you do have, you can see the number of people giving a 1 or a 2 or a 4 or a 5. And if this 1 is coming back a number of times, people start, that must be max or that must be Pete. And when I then look to the data, it's not Pete and it's not Max, but it's not important.
Yeah. No, so I think anonymity. I agree with you. I think anonymity is important. Sometimes I think the opposite, because I think if you have outliers that where there's a real big gap between the majority opinion and an individual opinion, I think it's important, just for the sake of addressing that issue in a constructive sort of way. It might be helpful to know, is this person just being a troll, or do they have a valid concern, and how do we deal with it? Can I discount the opinion as an outlier, or how do I deal with it? All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's always a struggle with an outlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes you really have this idea why the hell is he giving this answer?
Yeah. And we all know there's always certain rebels or omegas that want to have a different opinion than everybody else.